Howdy, St. Van Arsdale here from the Reeler.com, welcoming you back to another episode of ReelerTV from the 2007 Toronto International Film Festival. To have a very special guest, Peter Bogdanovich, the legendary director of films such as Last Picture Show, What's Up Doc, Paper Moon, and so on. He's here actually presenting a long-lost, recently restored 1917 John Ford classic, Bucking Broadway. In less than an hour, you're going to be presenting Bucking Broadway, which, if I'm correct, is a film you haven't actually seen yet. Is that true?
It's a John Ford film I have not seen yet because it was just found about a year ago or something, having thought to have been irretrievably lost. It's one of the many silent films of his that were thought to be lost, and this one is found, so there you are.
So I guess, what can you tell us about the film itself, the storyline, and also kind of its history and its making?
Well, it was the last of 4 features that he directed in 1917, the first year he became a director. So that year, it was released on Christmas Eve. It was the last of 4 features, and it was the last of 4 features and 4 two-reelers that he made that same year. I mean, they really made them quickly. And, I'm sure that the telling of the way he tells the story, the way he makes the story, the way it's filmed, is more interesting than the plot, which is just a guy is in love with a girl. The guy is played by Harry Carey. The girl decides to go off with some other guy. She goes off to New York, and he follows her and gets her back. And the plot actually is very similar to a film that was supposedly Ford's first film. It was a two-reeler called The Scrapper, and he was in it, playing the guy that the girl leaves. When I asked Ford about that, I said, you know, I hear supposedly you were in your first film. He said, oh no, that was just a bunch of stunts. I was never an actor. But of course he was a bit of an actor. So I hear it, you know, it got great reviews in the moving picture world. The trade newspapers said it was Jack Ford. The building was Jack Ford in those days. Gets all of the outdoors into the picture, so I'm sure it has some typical Ford landscapes.
I mean, you literally wrote the book on Ford. What did he tell you about shooting in New York City itself, especially this film, this story?
I don't know that he did shoot in New York. It's called Bucking Broadway. I saw a couple of people yesterday who'd seen it, and I said, do you think it really is Broadway? And he said, well, it's hard to tell. Could have been downtown L.A. I have a grave doubt that they went all the way to New York to shoot that.
You also are receiving an award for film preservation, your efforts in film preservation at the festival this year, and it's a cause that's gathering steam culturally, but it's still kind of inaccessible for the average filmgoer in a lot of ways. What can filmgoers do, and how can they, I guess, contribute to the effort to save what are essentially endangered cinema?
This award they gave me, which was I was very happy to receive it, was given by the International Federation of Film Archives, which is 140 archives across the world. So I'm sure if you look up what archive is in your neighborhood, whatever you are in the world, they'd love to have a contribution. There's Scorsese has a company called the Film Foundation, which he and a number of other people started, which helps to preserve films. UCLA has a film library. The AFI preserves films. There's a lot of different organizations around the world that try to save older films.
Greetings. We're here with Karina along with the Spout.com. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, you're leaving tomorrow, right?
I am. My 4-day sojourn in Toronto is wrapping up.
Okay, so you've had a marathon of viewing over the last 24 hours. What have you seen, and what can you tell us?
Right after I shot the episode yesterday with you guys, I went to go see Peter Greenaway's new movie, Night Watching, which stars Morgan Freeman from the English version of The Office as Rembrandt. And the first 10 minutes of that movie were amazing. And then I fell asleep. And I woke up about 40 minutes later and was so lost that there's no way I could stay in the theater, so I had to leave. And that's my biggest regret of Toronto 2007, because I talked to 2 people who stayed for the whole thing, and these people aren't even as much of Peter Greenaway fans as I am, and they said, this is like the best movie Peter Greenaway has ever made. So I'm really cursing myself for putting myself through this difficult schedule that leads me to fall asleep in afternoon screenings.
What else have you seen?
This morning I saw 3 movies. I saw The Golden Age, which is the sequel to Elizabeth, again starring Cate Blanchett as Elizabeth I. And it's a very strange movie. I mean, Elizabeth wasn't really historically accurate, but The Golden Age just takes that sort of stylization to really amazing extremes. I'm really not sure how I feel about it, but I think the whole movie is kind of summed up by a shot towards the end of Cate Blanchett in full metal armor on top of a white horse with a big flowing red hair extension wig, like giving her troops a rallying speech.
Awesome. Thank you very much to Karina for joining us. Once again, you can read her coverage of Toronto and about all of Toronto selections at spout.com. Remember to check out thereeler.com for more about New York City films, filmmakers, and everything happening here at Toronto as well. I am Steve Van Arsdale for Reeler TV, signing out.